It's finally arrived, huh? The final 5 episodes of a preview season, which I need to watch and review to get this whole thing over and done with. I've managed once again not to get lapped this season, even though it's come close, what with a new anime feat season falling right around Final Fantasy XIV patch time, but I managed to keep up somehow. And also watch some of the new anime which is airing as well, which is kind of amazing really. Are there any new shows this season which really appeal to you? What did you think of my new idea of doing the short previews as well? Because, for the last time this season, this is a 2023 autumn anime preview from a different perspective. First up today, we've got Protocol Rain, an anime about pro gaming, about esports. As crazy as it might sound, this one isn't super cringe. Now, one of the main problems with esport type anime, and any kind of anime which has a fake sport or a rare sport in this case, as a main theme, it often tries to zhuzh it up to make it more exciting. But that's something which you don't really need to do with esports because it is an interesting premise itself. We're always trying to make it seem more crazy or overbearing than it is already as well. And I'll be honest, first episode of Protocol Rain, they don't do that. The game they look at is a traditional 5-on-5 team-based shooter. Where you go in, you plant a bomb, the other team has to disarm it. If you kill your team, you win. If you plant the bomb and it blows up, you win. If you're the disarming team and you disarm the bomb once it's been planted, you win. I can't remember exactly which game it is, but there's a bunch of games like that one. Obviously, the most obvious one being Counter-Strike, but there's lots of other games similar to it as well. But it's clear the writer of Protocol Rain is a gamer at heart because this is very much based on an actual game. Now, main character this time is a guy called Shun, who was a big gamer, and something happened when his dad died. He stopped gaming and just looked after his sister and lived with his mother and basically gave up gaming. He still works at a gaming cafe with his childhood friend gaming buddies, but never actually games himself. He doesn't let himself. Because he knows if he gets too engrossed in gaming, he won't be able to keep an eye on his sister. And he's got big goals for himself to earn himself a good living and be able to live, basically. One thing leads to another, and he gets invited to a pro gaming team when the esports cafe he works at is threatened with closure due to a level of debt. Suddenly, the pro gamer who is the star idol of the cafe leaves, and there's a hole in the team, and the boss wants Shun to take part. Shun, who has basically shunned all games at this point in time. No pun intended. So he finds himself thrust into a shooter tournament, a deathmatch. First to 40 kills will win. If he can get to 40 kills, he'll do it. If he doesn't, he'll give up gaming forever. And you can probably guess what happens at the end of the first episode. He gets to 40 kills. He wins. Well, joint win. Him and an old sparring partner of his called Explosion Kun. No idea what they're like. Most definitely not the actress who appears to be on every single billboard and commercial based on the game. And that's going to be an interesting story if that is correct. Now, for a pro gaming anime, this one I quite enjoyed. I'm not a massive shoot 'em up fan. However, I will watch streamers, in fact a bunch of streamers I do watch, do often end up in this type of game, and it is always interesting to see how it goes. But I'm not a participant, I'm an audience member. Whether or not this one maintains the relatively normal air about it, it's not sensationalising with content, it's just as is. The shooter is a game they play, it's not some kind of wacky, world-defining event which will change the way that gaming is seen forever. It's a game. I am going to recommend this one if you like sports anime. It is very much a sports anime, and we'll probably run into the same kind of tropes most sports anime do, only the sport this time is gaming. If you do want to watch Protocol Rain, you can find it on Crunchyroll. My New Boss is Goofy is another of those workplace-like comedies, where a new member of staff joins the workforce and is confronted with a boss which is very much not what expected. We've had a bunch of them in the past few years, the likes of My Tiny Senpai, or Cool Girl and the Iceman, and a whole bunch of workplace comedies which I'll show you can actually tell anime with adult stories these days, because they're basically the same, just more grown-up people. They're just as irresponsible as the rest of us, so why not tell stories about them? Now, the main difference between this one and those is very much of a Joshi targeted version of those shows where all the main characters are guys, attractive guys, and they'll be chucking along with each other and getting shipped with each other on the fan forums all over the place. But if you've seen any of those previously mentioned shows, you know what kind of things they're going to be getting up to. You're learning each other's tropes and traits. And isn't reasonable fit, really. It's not a show for me. I'm not a huge fan of all-male cast anime. But I can see this one having an appeal for those who don't mind that. The characters are interesting and fun. And yes, they are very much for Joshi bait characters. But the stories are very much the same type of stories which I enjoy in the previously mentioned shows as well. I'm probably not going to watch more of it, but I'm not going to hold it against you if you watch more. You can find this one on Crunchyroll as well. Now, the next show I'm watching today is a bit of a weird one for me. I'm trying to avoid spin-offs and sequels unless it's something I've actually got a reason to watch. And that is the case with this one. Power of Hope, Precure, Full Bloom. Now, I'm not a big fan of a Precure series. I've got nothing against it. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love a magical girl show, but I'm not a huge fan of Precure because I've not really had a chance to see it. Sadly, despite the West getting to Precure series these days, Toei Animation have found it upon themselves to restrict the viewing of them to certain regions, seemingly at random. And the older shows, except the original Precure series, just aren't viewable to anyone. And so when a sequel series to Yes Precure suddenly happens, I'm thinking, okay, I know none of these characters except in the artworks of Sin on my friend's bag. But I like magical girl shows, and this one's interesting. It's not your typical Precure sequel. You see, Power of Hope, Precure Full Bloom, is about a cast of Yes Precure in later life. They're now all 23. So they are an adult cast of former magical girls. Moved on from a magical girl, going on to life. Nozomi is a teacher. Rin is a jewellery designer. Kurumi is an office worker, I think. Like I say, I'm just saying names here based on the characters I saw in the anime because I know none of these girls. But how will they become Precures, or what will happen in terms of fighting bad guys? Because there are Precure style bad guys here. This is a magical girl show, don't get me wrong. How will they fight now when they're no longer Precures? Will they suddenly become adult Precures? Will they transform back into their younger selves to become the Precures? Or will they be adult versions of the magical girls most people know and love? Frankly, I have no idea, but I'm intrigued to find out. And I've seen a few episodes of Precure. I've seen quite a lot of originals to Precure, and I've seen a few episodes of the one which is available in the UK, and so I know what to expect. It's very much traditional monster of the week, magical girl fighting. I say traditional, Precure is one of the ones which really set the genre of that nature. So it's not too surprising they're still doing the same thing this many years on. Now, your mileage might vary this one. I'm probably going to stick with it a little bit longer because I'm intrigued. I might try and find a way to watch Yes Precure because I want to know about these characters as well. They seem like interesting characters. I want to know what makes them tick, why they are, what they are, and where we go from here. If you're also interested in watching Precures but aged 23, you can find Power of Hope, Precure Full Bloom over at Crunchyroll. Ah, the traditional harem anime. How boring they get. That said, the 100 girlfriends who really love you is a pretty interesting premise, as it's a guy who is destined to meet his soulmate the moment he starts high school. Unfortunately, he's informed by the guard that actually that's a lie. He's not destined to meet his soulmate, he's destined to meet all 100 of them, as there's been an error, a cock-up in management, and he's been designated 100 different soulmates. Another thing he learns is anybody who does not end up with their soulmate dies a horrible death. So now he's got the pressure of 100 girls falling head over heels in love with him, and if he only ever picks one, the other 99 are just going to be slaughtered. He doesn't want man on his conscience, so he decides to do the only thing which any good harem protagonist would do. He goes for a harem ending. And of course, this being girlfriends who really love him, they're all up for a ride. Now in the first episode, we only really meet with two other girlfriends, Karane and Hikari, who... Hikari is a devious little trickster. She's willing to do anything and anything to get with her soulmate. It's love at first sight, and she'll feign injury, play mathematics with drinking half of a can of drink in order to get that elusive second-hand kiss. And is seemingly the one more accustomed to this type of thing. Whereas the other main character we meet, Karane, she's a tsundere. She is very tsundere. Every single trope you've imagined about that character trait, she is that. It's not as if she wanted to fall in love with him. This is very much going to be a case of trope-based harem comedy. You get the feeling with this many girlfriends, we're probably not going to meet them all. There's going to be some kind of get-out clause, which means he only gets like 7 or 8, or at most, probably even less than that. And each of the characters is going to be their own little stereotype. Even based on the intro, you get to see the nerdy one, the sciencey one, the klutzy one, the prim and proper one, the Sunday one. You get the idea. They're all going to be stereotypes, and they're all going to fall madly in head over heels with love for him. They're all going to agree to all date him at the same time, despite their annoyance, and it's going to be a big clusterfuck. I imagine that's what Rentaro hopes anyway, as I'm sure he wouldn't mind ending the series with a clusterfuck. Now, despite how it sounds when I'm talking about it, The 100 Girlfriends is not a bad show. There's something appealing and cute about it. It's not a major put-off if you don't hate harem shows. And I don't natively hate them. I view them as the lowest common denominator, and there's not really much of interest or variation in them these days. This one adds something interesting, and it adds a random bit of silliness. It's very self-referential with its jokes. The very first girl he confesses to his love before this whole thing goes off says, "Oh, it's not you, it's me. And also, I find you really, really repulsively ugly, so I don't want to go out with you." The biggest refusal is life. I had to go with the other 99 refusals he got beforehand. So not only does he have on 100 girls who's going to be head over heels in love with him, he's already confessed to 100 girls who basically turn him down for being repulsive. Now, if you do want to watch 300 Girlfriends, you can find them airing over at Crunchyroll. Finally this season, we've got Stardust Telepath, an anime about a cute shy girl who finds herself hanging out and becoming friends with an alien. An alien who has the power of telepathy, who can finally understand what Umika, our main character, is thinking of. See, Umika is the ultimate shy girl. Believe it or not, she's actually more shy than Shy is in the anime Shy. And that's her name. She is too scared to speak to anyone. She actively avoids people. And even when she's just in class not doing anything, just hiding behind a curtain, not wanting to get involved with anyone, in case they might speak to her. And so when Yu Akuchi suddenly appears in the first day of class, arriving late and declaring herself as an alien, Umika's a bit freaked out. What's this weird girl saying if she's an alien? She's an alien when maybe Umika can be friends with her? She plucks up her courage to try and approach her, but then, because she's so shy, gives up. You notice this and basically just becomes attached to her. And the two become friends. This is definitely going to be the cute girls do cute things show this season. I'm amazed it's got this long into a season, we haven't got one properly yet. But this is that show. The characters are cute, the premise is not really there, just two girls, one's an alien, one's a shy girl. One's an alien, one's a sci-fi loving shy girl, and they get on like a house on fire, as you'd expect. Well, Umika being very shy still, but Yu is hopefully going to bring her out of a shell, and we're going to get a fun, light-hearted comedy based on these cute girls doing cute things. There's not really much more to say about this, really. It's an anime which appeals to me greatly because of the type of anime it is and the characters. The premise is interesting, the characters are fun, and I'll definitely be watching more of this one on Crunchyroll. That was Protocol Rain, My New Boss is Goofy, Power Hope, Precure for Bloom, The 100 Girls Who Really, 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 Really Love You, and Stardust Telepath, the 5 final shows I'm previewing this season. Well, thank you very much for watching to the end of a preview guide this season, and join me in January for more. Until then, bye bye.